Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's live video. My name is Gina. Spiritual name is Lakshmi. It is great to have you here. As always, please, as we go, post some questions and I'll get to them at the end. But want to just first appreciate you for being here from around the world, Italy and the Philippines, Kenya, Canada. Oh my gosh, the United States. Super. Thanks again. So today we are going to talk about a very special topic, very important for your wealth building, your ancestors. So you might ask yourself, well, what do my ancestors have to do with my wealth? I mean, these are people who have passed on. I may not even have known them. I don't even know their names. Why would they be impacting my current life circumstances and the possibility of me manifesting wealth with the use of Stream Brzee? Since you're on this channel, we're assuming you use Stream Brzee or you're at least interested. And so here, let's break it down. Your ancestors have created you, right? From a DNA perspective, from 12 generations, you are the result of over 4,000 people, parents and grandparents. And so your DNA is locked in this lifetime, is locked in with theirs. You literally receiving their genes, their DNA, and their thoughts. There's new science that proves your thoughts are actually passed down from generation to generation. So if you have, similar traits from your grandfather that you never met, now you know why. Or there's thoughts that you may have now you know why. But there's also soul genetics. So your energy, your soul that gets passed on from lifetime to lifetime is also influenced by the soul of your ancestor. So now these ancestors who have passed on, they're no longer in a body. Their soul has longing, it has desire, it has a need for fulfillment that was not achieved in the lifetime that they lived. And so that soul has unfulfillment. It then goes to the next of kin or whoever's most receptive, probably you because you're spiritual, to have them get help. So this is a disembodied soul out there wanting help, and it finds you. And then once it does, it starts trying to get at you, like thinking you're trying to provide thoughts to you, provide desires to you. Not only that, but it's the tendency of our ancestors is passed on, like I said, genetically, and then also from a soul perspective. So maybe they had a tendency to not be able to make money. Certain blocks were in that space. Maybe they had a tendency to make money, and that was also passed on to you. So our genetics and our soul genetics help to empower us in both ways for either making money or not making money. So now that these souls are disembodied and they're influencing you and giving you thoughts, giving you tendencies, both from a genetic and soul genetics, physical and soul genetics perspective, what can you do about it now that you know that this is probably happening to you? There's certain power times throughout the year that are the most potent time to do an action that will have the most results. And that's what we want, right? Like, we don't want to waste our time doing things. We want to do the right thing at the right time in order to have the most powerful impact. So good for you. You're in the right place at the right time, because this time period coming up called Mahalaya, or it's a 15-night period of the year that is the most potent time for us to make offerings to these ancestors in order for them to achieve their freedom. So they're no longer trapped in this disembodied, unfulfilled state. And then not only that, we help free them, but then we ask for their blessings. And it is in those blessings that we can have breakthroughs in so many areas of our life. Breakthroughs. We've been stuck. We couldn't do it ourselves. We've been praying to God. We've been doing karma busting. We've been chanting mantras. Still, nothing is happening. Our ancestors are key to us having huge breakthroughs, because it is their blessings are so, so powerful that they can actually make a huge impact on our soul and our current life circumstances. So this is why it's really, really, really important for us to be honoring our ancestors, thanking them, making offerings to them, especially during certain power times. So this power time that's coming up called Mahalaya, or sometimes it's called Mahalaya Paksha, it's called Pichupaksha. There's a few different words for it, but It's a 14 or 15 day period where we have deeper access to our ancestors. And so they are wanting our assistance. And when we do certain rituals on their behalf, we're getting them into a state of fulfillment and hopefully freedom. And during that freedom, that's when we get the blessings. So 2 more questions you might be asking. So what do I need to do for them? And what is this 15 days about? So let me get to that. What do you need to do for them is Tarpanam. It's called Tarpanam, and it literally means food offering. So when you're making this offering that may not seem like food at all, it is nourishing their soul. It is helping their soul get to another level of evolution in their journey. Now remember, the more they evolve, the more powerful their blessings are, and then they're blessing you. And this is where miracles can happen in your life. So this Tarpanam can be done by you, and we have videos for you to actually learn how to do that. It can also be done by specialists, priests, which we do hire in order to have this performed on your behalf, especially during this 15-day period. But if you don't have the funds for that, then you just must do it on your own in order for you to receive the blessings of your ancestors. So why this 15-day period? This particular period of time, this 15 days, is a time when the ancestors just know to come to the earth plane in order to receive, for them to do maybe even their own rituals, as well as for you to do rituals to help their blessings. And each one of these 15 days has a different moon phase. It starts on the first waning moon of, in this case, in this year, in September. So that happens to be September 2nd. So it starts on the first waning moon, and then it happens it goes until the new moon. The new moon is the most important time of every month to do this ancestor offering. So you can do it every month on the new moon. You can do it every single day, which is highly recommended. And then during these 15 days. So these 15 days, and I'm going to now go through the value or the specific quality of each moon phase. So for example, the first moon phase, what is that? It's a full moon. The day after the full moon becomes the first waning moon. And on that day, during this 15-day period, during Mahalaya, this particular moon gives the blessings of wealth. Funny how that works. The first one out of the gate is about wealth, which is what we're talking about. Why? Because this is such an important aspect of our life on earth. We all need wealth to be sustaining ourselves, to not be in certain types of suffering, and to really uplift our spirits in their ability to have certain freedoms. So first moon gives wealth, which means if you're doing offerings on this particular day, this is the benefit you'll receive, is wealth. And then you can specifically ask your ancestors to bless you with wealth when you do the offering on this day, the first moon. The second moon is for continuing your lineage. So a lot of people want to continue their lineage, and the ancestors probably want to do it for sure in order to just keep your family line going. So in the second moon, it blesses with that continuation. The third moon, business prosperity. Again, prosperity coming into play. So if you have a business, you want to start a business, anything having to do with business abundance, business prosperity. Third moon. The fourth moon gives the ability to master your enemies. How oftentimes do your enemies come interference with your happiness, with your wealth, with your business, with your relationships, right? Enemies or conflict, someone not supporting you, can create all kinds of grief. And we want to dissipate that as much as we possibly can. So on this fourth moon, mastering the ability to overcome enemies. Next is the fifth moon, and it grants overall prosperity. So again, prosperity coming into play. Overall prosperity in all areas of your life, the fifth moon. The sixth moon grants a solid reputation. So you want to be well known. You don't want to have things tarnished on your name, right? Even if you're not looking for name and fame, but just have a solid reputation. This is what can assist and grant you for on the 6th moon. The 7th moon secures inner strength and spirituality. So how many times have we, and I'm going to keep going back to the wealth thing because this is the Stream Brucey channel. How many times have we maybe tried to accomplish our goals, try to manifest, try to build more prosperity in our life, but we just felt like we couldn't, or we were discouraged, we felt weak. Inner strength is needed to get through all the tough times. Or maybe you had a tough time with any area of your life, but let's say in particularly manifesting wealth, or maybe you lost a bunch of money where you felt like you just couldn't go on. This is your inner strength needing building up, and your spirituality needing to be secure, and that can be done on the 7th moon. The 8th moon is always a time for transition and growth. The 8th moon will give us blessings of intelligence. So again, how could you build a business? How could you create more wealth? Your intelligence will help you come up with the ideas to do that. Intelligence will get you so far in life, you'll be able to have ideas, fulfill them, engage in ways that will help you manifest more faster. Intelligence on the 8th moon. 9th moon is the ability to receive support from women. Why is this so important? Women hold the energy of the creative power. Women hold the energy of the goddess, the divine feminine. If you gain support of women, you're gaining the support of goddess. You're gaining the support of this powerful creative force. You want the support of women. Men and women want the support of women. It's so important, and it's so underrated in our society right now, but please pay high attention to this. The 9th moon gives you the ability to receive support from women. The 10th moon grants success in your profession. Again, we're going back to wealth, right? Your profession, things, whatever it is that you do for a living, hopefully that is fulfilling to you. It's bringing you what you need in order to sustain yourself. Hopefully it's bringing you wealth. It's bringing you fulfillment. It's bringing you purpose. So your profession can be granted on the 10th moon. The 11th moon grants children prosperity, again, prosperity, and intelligence. So we have a triple benefit on this 11th moon. 11th moon is so good for abundance in general. So here we have children, intelligence, and prosperity on this really powerful 11th moon of Mahalaya. 12th moon is continuation of your lineage and success from education. So maybe that education you spent a lot of money on, you're not quite sure where it's going to go. Success from your education and propitiation or continuation of your lineage on the 12th moon. The 13th moon and the 14th moon are both good for material comforts, vehicles, things like that. Peace and longevity. Peace and longevity. So 13th moon and 14th moon both give you all of these things. Material comforts, like a vehicle or such, peace and longevity. The new moon, the 15th moon, is the most powerful moon of, I think, the year for Tarpanam, for Ancestor Offering. So this particular new moon. Now, if you missed any of the other days, the new moon is the day you do all of your offerings. The new moon is the day you don't want to miss. It is the most powerful. If you missed any of them, it's kind of, you're trying to make up for it in this new moon. It is vital. It is considered the most impactful of all the moon phases. Now, of course, you want to get the blessings of all of those prior 14 moons, but if you miss one or two or all, don't miss the new moon. It's the heightened energy of the entire period of time. So that is the significance of those 15 days period. This is, I also hopefully I explained the significance of why this whole time is important for you to connect with your ancestors. So this year, the timing is September 2nd through September 16th. So what does Apply Center have for you? We have put together 15 days of free live engagement with a Apply Center teacher. So the link should be below this video where you can click on that. You can set a reminder, have a reminder be sent to you for those, or you can just arrive on the page on the days of which they're being done. So there's this few things happening. There's 2 webinars and there's 15 days of live engagement. So the 2 webinars, one that I'm hosting this weekend, which is August 30th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. The next one is September 13th at 8 a.m. Pacific time. The one this weekend, August 30th, is going to be really interesting because it's about Pichus. Pichus are exalted ancestors. They can help you even more than your regular ancestors. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the difference is and why and how you can access these Pichus to get even more benefit during this power time. And then Sucharita will be hosting live daily guided Tarpanam. So you can do this in a group every day during Tarpana, during Mahalaya. And then she'll have a Q&A open as well. And then I think we're going to do like a little brief teaching each of the days. So that's your live free stuff. Now, if you want to engage with the professionals to do your rituals for you in India, which is what I do it on my own, but I also have them do it. It's one of the things I never miss purchasing. It's worth every penny. I just make sure the experts are doing it because they're in different power spots. They're trained specifically on how to do this and how to call in the ancestors. And I just have trust and faith that this works. And I've had amazing results in terms of having it be performed for me and then having different situations occur in my life, like freedom from feeling like an ancestor was around me. I could literally feel them. And then after having it performed, I felt them leave. I felt the freedom of them being gone and then me not feeling their thoughts and feelings any longer. So that was really fulfilling for me. And them, hopefully. So they also, hopefully, there's a link below here that gives you access to the page where we have 3 different options. There's levels that you can join. I usually do the highest level if it's affordable. I also do year-long Tarpanam, which hopefully there's also a link below that you can access for that. Year-long Tarpanam I love because you can do it, you can pay monthly. I just have it like, it's just like part of my monthly expenses, taking care of the ancestors. It's just a must have for me. And I think the almost highest level on that one, the one that's, I don't know, I don't remember the exact name, but I do as much as I possibly can afford for that because to me, it's just so important to take care of them in order for them to take care of me. So an investment I definitely make every year. And if you are part of, I think, one of the higher level year-long Tarpanams, you don't need to participate in the Mahalaya because it's covered, but just make sure, just go through and look at the different offerings and make sure you're covered for Mahalaya because that's one you definitely don't want to miss. So even if you don't do the year-long, always participate in Mahalaya every year, just a must-have for everybody. So, so now I'll answer any questions. Someone's asking, can I perform Tarpanam on behalf of my son or when I pray to include him as well? Yes. So he's part of your lineage, right? So anyone part of your lineage, it's okay to do. What you don't want to do is do Tarpanam for like your friend or someone unrelated to you. It has to be in the bloodline. So you're doing Tarpanam for your ancestors and your son is part of, he's a product of you. So it's already helping him by you performing it. And you can make an extra prayer when you're doing the offering, say, oh, please bless me, my son, and whoever else. I usually say, me and my siblings, because we're all in the same group anyway. So that's okay to do. What you don't, like I said, when you want to get out of doing is for people you don't know, people, or you probably know them, people you're not related to, because you could be taking on some karma by getting involved in their karma. If I do Tarpanam, will my sisters and my nieces be blessed too? Yes, everyone in your lineage, like going forward, like you're forward, will be blessed because all of these ancestors behind you that created you and all of them will be sending hopefully their blessings. And you can just add, like I said, a little bit of at the end, after you're doing your offerings, you can include people who are close to you, certainly your children, your siblings, and like that. Can I do Tarpanam for my in-law side? Yes, you can. So this is one of the exceptions. If you're not a blood relative, but you are joined by marriage, it's considered family. So then you can do Tarpanam for them as well. Any other questions? What details do I need to provide to the priest for this? Good question. They typically ask for a list of your ancestors' names. And if you don't have them, that's okay. They're going to just, call upon all of them, or at least a certain number of generations. But if you have name, that's even better because they'll read off their names. And then when you have a name, it's a connection. It's an energetic connection to that soul. And so if you have names, then send them. And you can send a long list if you like. They read them all off. Okay, so this person has said, I purchased the yearlong Royal Tarpanam. Awesome. I think that's the one that I have. Can you talk about the Karpasamy benefits and your experience with Karpasamy? So the new moon is associated with Karpasamy, and he's what Dr. Pillai talks about as a performer god. He's closer to the earth plane. He is very active on new moons, and so he can help you create justice. He's a god of justice. He's fast acting. So if there's anything that has happened that is in injustice to your family lineage, to you, Karpasamy is the one who can come in with his sword of justice and riding on his horse to make things right. What do I do if some ancestor did very bad stuff to me and my family? Pray for them. I know that might not be a popular response or maybe well received, but whatever they did for whatever reason that caused hurt in you, the only way for that to be healed, not the only way, but a way for that to be healed is forgiveness and prayer. They must have done something because they were hurting. And so we want to pray for their soul, because when their soul is released, it'll bring blessings to you. So that's the way to go. High road. Can I ask them to bless me with a specific wish? Yes, you can. Ask them for something very specific. I would like a new car. I would like this legal case to be resolved. I would like X, Y, Z. Just definitely ask them. Yeah, so this person said, I'm Chinese and the priest may not be able to pronounce correctly. That's okay. The priests are going to pronounce the way they pronounce because they're Indian. We just trust that our disembodied souls of our disembodied ancestors are listening intently with their soul. Should I do Tarpanam for my grandfather's brother and his family line? You can, but you don't have to. We are influenced by the lineage that goes out as well as just our direct. But it's really important for us to handle our direct lineage, like the fathers, grandfather, all of that. But you can branch out if you like. It won't hurt. Can I do Tarpanam for my grandparents, even though my parents are alive? Yes. So this is a tradition. In India, it's traditional not to do Tarpanam if your parents are alive. Dr. Pillai doesn't subscribe to that philosophy. If this is something you feel strongly about, please do what is best for you. Do what you believe in. We're not asking you to disregard your traditions or your beliefs. However, if you are open to it, Dr. Pillai does not see a problem with performing Tarpanam for the deceased if your parents are alive. Because you're really, you're bypassing your parents and you're going to those who have passed on. Do I use black sesame seeds or white sesame seeds? Any difference in using these? So the recommendation is black. I don't know the significance, unfortunately, between the black and the non-black, the tan ones. But we're recommended to use the black sesame seeds. And if you cannot get them, then you can use the alternatives. Is Shrimbrzi or Tarpanam more important in wealth creation? That's a good question. They're both really important, and you should do them both. And I want to pick one over the other. What about deceased husbands? Are they included? Yes. So if your husband is deceased, you can do Tarpanam for him. If you don't have the items, can you do a virtual Tarpanam? Yes. So the items are better. So the items people are asking, black sesame seed, a coin of any of the denomination, or any currency, and black sesame seeds. So rice flour, you can just grind it up in a grind uncooked rice in a blender if you don't have rice flour. And then black sesame seeds you can order online, or you can purchase sometimes in local stores or Indian stores. If you cannot find the black, you can use the alternative, the tan colored ones. There are 3 tarpanam packages, and it says individual tarpanam that Dr. Clyde recommended. Which one are you referring to? Okay, so there are 3. There's on the main page, there's going to be 3 offers. And then that's a package with a multitude of different offerings in there. Recommended that you select one of those, and then it can be done for a variety of your ancestors. There's something called Maha Tarpanam, which is an individual tarpanam, which means one person in your lineage that you really want to help. I personally do this when someone close to me passes on and I can feel them kind of rustling around for a while, and I really want to help them alleviate that that suffering and move into a different, help them through that passage. And so that one is a little more pricey. I think it's $470, something like that. But it is for one particular ancestor to really help them. And this is where I've had an amazing results, because I could literally feel them, and then I could literally not feel them. Like I knew that they moved on. So for me, for the investment, it was 100% worth it to help a soul in your family move on to the next level, and then they can bless you. So yeah, so if that's out of your budget though, or if you don't have one particular family member that you're looking to assist at this moment, then definitely do the packages. Do one of the packages. Is the year-long program for Tarpanam? Yes, it is. And I can just pop this link in here for you. Yeah, this is the one. This is year-long. If you look at that. And so there's several options on that too. And this is where you can pick your budget and pick which one works best for you. I wanted to ask again, can I do Tarpanam for my in-laws, because that is related to my wife's side? Yes, because like I said, you're now family joined by your wife. Which Tarpanam package should I take to be blessed with good children and family and health and prosperity? Well, all of them will help with that, because your ancestors are going to assist. Now, inside of the Mahalaya packages, there's different ones for different price points. So you could just pick, like, there's different moon phases, if you notice. I think, let's see, I'm looking at it right now. The essential package is the first and the new moon. So that's the lower price point. And then the second package, the enhanced, is the 1st, the 4th, the 8th, the 11th, and the 12th, or the 13th, and the new moon. So that one's a really good one. And just double check with the moon phases on which, so those particular moon phases line up with a value that I mentioned, right? Which is also happens to be on this page. You're looking at, so if you forget what I said, you can look, it's there on this sales page. And then you just want to make sure you pick that. And then the premier package is all 15, and that one covers you for everything. But if that's outside of your budget, I would go with the enhanced. When does it start? So it starts on the first moon, which is September 2nd. So that's why it's quick. You have to hurry up and order these so that you can get everything in. Get your information about your ancestors to our staff in India. It's such a busy time, and it's really exciting. And this is why you really want to act to make sure you're all set up in time for September 2nd. Let's see. Am I safe to do Tarpanam if ancestors did bad things to me? Yes. Yes, you want to do Tarpanam, because that means they have, even if they did something bad to you, they had their own problems, right? Unfortunately, it came out on you, but now that they've passed on, they haven't resolved those problems. Those problems are still there. And guess what? Those problems are still being passed on to you. It is in your best interest to do Tarpanam for ancestors that have any unrest, especially if they've done any harm to you. This is a way of healing. So I know it might be a hard pill to swallow to try to help someone who hurt you, but in the long run, it will help you. And that's what's important to remember. And healing is just, will change your life. It can change your life. So definitely you want to do that. So the specific ancestor offering is on the link. Let me just pop that in there too. So this one is the this is the general packages. So go ahead and take a look at that. The one I posted before that is the year-long. So take a look at this one. This is where you'll find all of the packages for this year, plus the individual one that Dr. Pillai recommends, which I've done several times. And I'm telling you, it's magic. It's amazing. Should I order Maha Tarpanam each year for a family member's death date? You can. Yeah, that's one of the things you can also do. So it doesn't have to be their death date. It could even be other times of the year. So for example, when I first got into all of this with Dr. Pillai, I could feel my dad like really just always around me. And it wasn't like he was trying to hurt me. It was, we were very close. And when he was alive, he passed on tragically. I was young. It was just a tragic situation for everyone. And I just could feel him always around me. Maybe he was upset because of the way he left, whatever it was. It was a burden though. It became a burden. And I did this Maha Tarpanam and I could literally feel it lift, literally start feeling it lift. So it was really, and it wasn't even his death anniversary. It was just like when I found out about it and get my hands on this program and then had it performed. So it was super powerful. Same thing happened with a cousin of mine. She passed on tragically and I could feel her unrest for a while. And then I had this performed. When an ancestor passes, you can also perform it right away. So within the first 40 days, it's either 14 days after death or 40 days after death. And this is a really good time to help them move on because the first couple of weeks, they're in their own transition period. And then after that, the 40 days, they're still in transition period. So it's a really powerful time right as if you know, if you can catch it as it happens, like someone passes on and then you can order this right away, tell them what the death date was. Our priests and our support staff will schedule it on the right day. So you don't have to worry about that. But as soon as someone passes, you write in to office@pillai-center.com, you purchase this and you tell them this is the death date and I want it, please perform as needed and we'll take care of it. To me, this is just a huge service that we can do for our people and ourselves. When we perform Tarpanam, do we name the ancestors too? You can. So if you know their names, you can name them. Sometimes I do that kind of for fun if I know some of their names. But most of the time when I'm doing my daily Tarpanam, I do a very quick version, which I've done a video on, which just helps me make sure I do it every day as opposed to having it be a long drawn out process. But if you would like to do a longer process, by all means, the more the better. For me, I know that I have a tendency to getting lazy. And if I don't make it easy, I might not do it. So I like to do it, make sure I do it versus not. But for those of you who have more discipline and more really want to go in a little deeper, then saying their names is very powerful. There has been a string of unhappy marriage relationships on my paternal side, starting with my grandparents. Will this program address something like that? Yes, very good question. So if there is you bring up a really good point. Let's say there's a consistent type of situation, which we would call karma, right? Like a consistent situation in your lineage. This can help break that cycle. And unfortunately, another thing that gets passed on is thoughts of suicide. There are people who have thoughts of suicide because their ancestors had committed suicide, and it's still it's a tragic thing, and there's a lot of unrest around it, and so that thought gets passed on, and all of a sudden now there's a string of suicides in a lineage, just a tragedy that doesn't need to happen. Same thing with unhappy marriages, all of that, karmas can be passed on for sure. Yes, if you need a payment plan, we're not offering payment plans right this, but just write in to us and we'll try to do the best we possibly can always to accommodate your needs. Is there any ritual we have to do or is it all done by the priest in India? When you order, it's all done by the priest in India. Once you place your order, send in your names if you have them. Even if you don't have your names, it'll still work. Then it's all performed for you. What you can also do is the at-home version, which is Dr. Ply recommends that we do every day anyway. My paternal granny passed away last month, and we have done last rites, and we were advised not to go to the temple for 6 months. Can I still do Tarpanam? Yes, you can definitely still do Tarpanam. So you can do it at home. You can also order the Tarpanam. In fact, this is where I would order the Maha Tarpanam, the big individual Tarpanam, because very close to someone who's very close to you, they just recently passed. This is where I would definitely go for that. How do we know that our ancestors are happy or unhappy with us? You may feel them. You may feel them. If you don't feel them, you may see things happen in your life. When blessings occur, it could be from them. When hardships occur, it could be from them. So this is a gauge of how you could see. And there's other karmic factors at play, but ancestors are a big one that you want to just take care of. Take care of this situation so that it's not contributing to your negative impact in your life. For the specific ancestor Tarpanam, I have checked the links, but which one is the exact service I need to purchase? Okay, so for the individual one, the specific one I think you're asking for, it is called Individual Maha Tarpanam on Mahalaya Day. It's $470. So it's under the additional recommended services. And if you're in India, you'll see it in rupees. You'll see a different price in rupees. So. If the souls of our ancestors have taken rebirth, will Tarpanam be of any help? Yes, because we're still helping their souls, but really the Tarpanam is more for those who are not in a birth. And there's lots of them. So don't worry about the lack of numbers there. Once the priests have done it, will we receive an email notification that it's been complete? I believe so. We usually do that. I'm pretty sure that that's the case. Any other questions before we wrap up? It's been a lively, really good conversation. Thanks. What about a deceased sibling? Definitely should do Tarpanam for a deceased sibling. I would do Maha Tarpanam. This is the big one, the individual one. That's what I would personally do. If that's not in your budget, then do it on your own for them. And include their name when you submit your ancestors, even though it's technically not an ancestor, but it's a very close relative that you definitely want to submit the names when you send in your list if you do any of the purchases. Any other questions? All right, you guys have been amazing. No Hindi we don't have a Hindi program, sorry. How do I know which specific ancestor needs to be performed for? You will only know if you sense them. I could sense them because one was my father and I could just tell. And then I could also sense the others because they had passed on and I could feel them. Now, the other thing is when my grandmother passed on, I felt elated. She had, a quick story about like how you can feel them to answer your question. My father passed on when I was 13, 20 years later or so, I was getting more into my spirituality. I started to feel like a sense of heaviness, like him around, but not really in a positive, uplifting way. So performed this Maha Tarpanam for him, could feel him leave and can feel him lift. And how I knew is because I felt blessings. I felt happy. I felt like our relationship was now like complete. It was joyous. It wasn't like dense, constrained, heavy. All of those feelings that I was having before now felt like uplifting and joyful. And oh my gosh, I can have a relationship with my dad again type of thing. So that's how I could tell. My grandmother passed on. I was already doing rituals before she even passed on, and I knew she was going to get well taken care of. But she had Alzheimer's. She was really stuck in her body for at least a decade. And so when she passed on, I could tell. I didn't know because I wasn't physically with her, but I just all of a sudden had this feeling of like joy and happiness. I was just elated. I was like, for no reason. I was just like literally doing my work. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel sad. And then I was like, oh my gosh, grandma. And I called my mom and she's like, oh yeah, she just passed 45 minutes ago. And I was like, oh, so I felt her lift into this beautiful state. So we feel them, whether we know it or not. Moods that we have, thoughts that we have are related to these beings who have, passed on and who can bless us, who can also bring us down. And they're not meaning to do it. It's just the weight of their unfulfilled desires gets on to us. And that's why it's so important for us to do this ritual, to support this process, to, if as much as you possibly can, have them done for you by the experts, because that's really where I felt like the biggest shifts was when I had them performed and I could feel things just be relieved on the side of the ancestors. So yeah, long answer to your question. How do you know which ones need it? You don't always know. Sometimes you can tell. But if you're having any persistent thoughts, it very well could be an ancestor. And if you just get them done, get it done, it's helping on some level. You may not know exactly which one or which thought is coming from them, but continue to do it on your own, or sponsor these rituals, and things will continue to improve. That's been my situation. Can we add deceased husband's name? Yes. Yeah. So siblings, children, spouses can all be included. You start on the second day of September, which happens to be the first moon. Sorry if I messed that up at all when I was speaking earlier, but it's the first moon. If you look on your trusty astrobed calendar like I do, I have Mahalaya underlined here. It's the 2nd of September, at least in the US. Check your own time zone. And that's when the first moon starts on. I want to do Tarpanam for 5 people in my family. I still don't have any idea which package to select. I want to order them tomorrow. Okay, so if you need any additional support in figuring out which one, just write to us or go on chat. Sometimes polycenter.com, we have live chat going on. If there's anything I can do, let me know which one. But really just go through and see which. So what I would do if I were you is in terms of your budget. If you have a small budget, then I would go with either the low-level year-long Tarpanam or the essential package on the page, the main page for Mahalaya this year. The essential package is, I think, $72. If you have if you have a little bit mid-range budget, then I would go with the enhanced level, because you get middle of half of the ceremonies being done. If you have a bigger budget, I would go with the premier or elite, I don't remember what it's called anymore, the premier level of the Mahalaya package. Or go with a year-long elite, I think it is, or royal, sorry, the year-long royal. That's the one that I do. I don't do the super royal one. That's a little bit more out of my budget, but I do the royal one because it's something I just feel is worth it. So it really is a matter of budget. Now, those other additional packages or additional offers, I would only go into those if you already purchased one of the main 3 for Mahalaya. So you have your essential, your enhanced, and your, let me just make sure I'm looking at the right ones. Yeah, you have your essential, enhanced, and premier packages. So pick one of those. That's step 1. If you have some budget left over and you want to go into the additional recommended services, then you can pick out of those. And I would, if you have a person in mind, I would go with the individual Maha Tarpanam. That's going to be really powerful. If you don't have a person in mind, but you want to go with maybe a low cost added ritual, I would go with the group Tila Homa, which is just a powerful type of ritual that gets performed. And that one is a lower priced too. And then I would go in, and honestly, instead of paying, let's say $900 for an individual Tila Homa, I would put that money towards a year-long Tarpanam package. So look on the main Mahalaya page, pick one of the 3 offers. If you have some extra budget, go down to the additionals. If not, if you have extra budget, go into the year-long. I hope that made sense. So the two main things you should focus on. The 3 packages on the main Mahalaya page, there's Enhanced, Essential, or Premier. Pick one of those. You have extra money, pick one of the year-long Tarpanams. Make it simple. Hope that helped you make up your mind. Can we make use of rice on our Tarpanam, or does it have to be powdered? You can use regular rice. You can cook rice too. That's what they do in India. They cook the rice and use it for the offering. Don't eat it afterwards. Just throw it away. After you made the offering, they've already eaten it. Your father is an ancestor, not a sibling. Does that mean this will help fulfill their desire via us, or their feelings of unfulfilled desires will not affect us anymore? It will help fulfill their desire. So they have unfulfilled desires. They're in unrest. You feed them. You're helping feed their soul. Their soul now elevates to a higher level. Guess what? Those pesky desires that they had don't matter as much because now their soul is elevated. It's kind of like, putting things into perspective. If you were, someone said something mean to you and you're like, oh, I'm so upset about that. And then, and then you sat and meditated and you're like, I feel amazing because I just meditated. That thing that someone said to me doesn't even matter anymore. So it's like that. They're being elevated so that those desires, those worldly desires that they had, no longer their desires. They're released or somehow fulfilled because it's just not there for them anymore. And then in turn, it doesn't affect us. And then because they're elevating, they can bless us, but not only is it not affecting us, it's now uplifting us. So just think uplifting them uplifts us because their blessings are involved. I hope that helps. Will they use our bodies to fulfill their desires? Yes, they can. Yes, they can. So, for example, you want to, they want to drink alcohol. They want to have sex. They want to eat meat. Guess what? All of a sudden, you're going to want to drink alcohol, have sex, eat meat. Like they can use your body through their influence. So again, reasons why we want to help them help us, right? We want to help them ascend, let them be fulfilled or beyond their desires, and then they'll bless us, and then we won't have those desires, and also we'll have benefits from them. Really good questions. Now, just a tip on when you're doing the ancestor offering, make sure it's daylight. It could be any day, but make sure it's between sunrise and sunset. So the sun has to be up when you do your ancestor offerings. All right, folks, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Be sure to tune in to the webinar on Sunday where we talk more about Pichus, the exalted ancestors, how they're different and how they can help you even more, and what you can do during Mahalaya to assist them so that they can provide you even more benefits than your regular ancestors. So thank you so much for joining. And I got one more question. Can I chant Sri Puji on my ancestor's behalf on top of the Tarpanam? That's not necessary. No, it's not necessary. How do we distinguish our own desires versus theirs? That's a tough one. We don't always know. We don't always know, which is why it's important to take care of them so that we know, like the more that they're being taken care of, the less of their desires are being passed on to us. Are addictions a result of not giving Tarpanam to the ancestors? Yes, they can be, because addictions are very strong patterns that are passed on. And you'll notice, like there's usually a lineage, there's usually a history of drug abuse or alcoholism or gambling in a line, in a family line. So you'll notice that, and that's a result of that ancestor or a string of them have not been satisfied and are passing on those thoughts and desires to the next of kin. Good questions. All right, folks, I will see you Sunday. I hope you have a fantastic day and blessed Shri Brizzy Friday. I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.